Hello, just a short little video clip. I'm gonna keep it under 3 minutes to tell you a little bit about step 3 because I think a lot of you need some help with it. Either one, you're forgetting to do the second part of step 3, or two, you're assuming I read step 1 and 2, so you can't make assumptions. So let's talk a little bit about the chart. So in the first part, you're basically researching a historical, pop culture of that time period. It can be something like music, television, fashion, sports, you name it, okay? You're researching it really in depth. The second part you're gonna do is you're gonna research some history. It doesn't have to be a direct connection, but it should be loosely connected to why is this thing being created in this time period. So you're gonna research that. The third step is what we're gonna be focusing on right now. The chart is where you're basically going to tell me my pop culture is connected to the history, and you're gonna tell me how. But you can't assume that I've read step 1 or 2. So what I want from you is basically some detail about each of these things. Go further in depth than one short sentence, or some of you are just connecting it loosely. So let's look at an example, and then I'll come back and talk about the last part of step 3. Okay, as you can see here, we're looking at this song, actually 2 songs, I Won't Back Down, and then the LA Riots of Rodney King. And if you can read this, I'm gonna try to hold my screen so that I'm not moving around so awkwardly. There we go, I'm gonna zoom in, there we go. The song I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty is connected to the Rodney King riots in LA because the whole premise of the song is to never stop fighting and to keep persevering through hardships. That to me is a really good summary of the song. And some of you would just stop there, but you should keep going. The next part of their paragraph talks about the LA riots, so it's giving a little historical context. And then the third part where it says, for example, the bystanders witnessed gang members, blah, 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 that last part is really the connecting factor. So I like that this student gives me some background of the song, gives me some background of what the history is, and then makes the connection. So this is a really good way to do it. She did the same thing here with Mr. Wendell and then cutting domestic programs in the 80s, the late 80s. Okay, so that's how you're doing the chart. And if that's helping you as kind of a template of summary of the pop culture, summary of the history, connect it. The last part is you answering the overall question. So how does political, economic, and global affairs impact your cultural topic? You can just basically summarize it in how does history impact your cultural topic? And we're not talking about the songs. You should not be reiterating what you did in the chart. I read your chart. Now you are basically going and zooming out and saying, here's what history impacted music in the time period. Here's how music drew influence from the history. You don't need to mention specific events or songs or anything like that. I'm just looking for, in general, how is music changing over time? That question should be different from the last time you answered it. And then same thing as we go forward. So if you guys have questions, let me know, but I hope this helped.